Hi. You ever hear a sound that just keeps echoing in your head long after it stopped? For me, it was the chime of a text message at 3:17 in the morning. It was the second time that week. Same chime. I'd been half asleep, lying there in the dark, her breathing soft beside me. But the sound, that little ping, sliced through the silence like a whisper I wasn't supposed to hear. At first, I didn't think much of it. We've all got people messaging at weird hours. Friends in different time zones. Work emergencies. But it wasn't the time that stuck with me. It was the ringtone. Not the default one. A custom tone. High, sweet, like wind chimes. I'd never heard it before. And it only ever played when her phone buzzed late at night, tucked neatly under her side of the bed. The next morning, I asked her about it. Casual, like I wasn't already uneasy. She yawned, rubbed her eyes, and smiled. Just Andrea, she said, stretching. She's going through a breakup. Can't sleep without venting to someone. I nodded. Let it slide. Andrea had been her friend since college, and I'd met her enough times to believe that kind of thing. But something didn't sit right. I don't know. Maybe it was the way she didn't look at me when she said it. Maybe it was because I never remembered Andrea's texts having a name-specific ringtone before. You start noticing things when your gut doesn't trust your heart anymore. The way she'd angle her phone away when she typed. The new lock screen password she didn't mention changing. The sudden need for privacy. Just 10 minutes. I'm on a call with a client. Or don't touch that. It's work stuff. I'd never cared about her phone before. That's the funny thing. We used to leave them face up on the kitchen counter, charging together like loyal dogs. No secrets. No passcodes. But now it was glued to her palm or hidden in the folds of her sweater when she came in from errands. I asked her again, maybe a week later. Why'd you change your lock screen? She didn't even flinch. Company policy. My boss says we have to for security compliance. Made sense. She worked in finance. Compliance was always their favorite excuse. But still, that wind chime ringtone kept echoing. Always at night. Always just once. Never followed up by her replying. Just one chime. Like a check-in. By the time I brought it up a third time, I was already bracing myself for the answer. I don't know why you're being so paranoid lately, she snapped. You're acting like I'm hiding something. You are. I didn't mean to say it. It just came out. And she froze, mascara wand in midair, one eye half done in the mirror. Do you hear yourself? She said slowly. I'm not hiding anything. Jesus, have you been reading those Reddit stories again? About second phones and cheating wives? She laughed, like I was a child afraid of monsters under the bed. But that was the thing. The phone was under the bed. I didn't find it out of cleverness. I found it by accident, 2 weeks later, when I dropped my pen while writing a grocery list and it rolled under. I reached for it, hand grazing dust and hair ties and one of her old slippers. Then I felt it. Cold. Hard. Square. It wasn't her regular phone. That was charging on her desk upstairs, where she'd stepped out for a Zoom call. This one was tucked behind the leg of the bed frame, in a zippered pouch. A second phone. My heart thudded. Not like panic. More like confirmation. Like a question that had haunted me finally whispering. Yes. I sat on the edge of the bed, holding it in my hand, not even trying to open it. I just looked at it. It was cheap. One of those burner types you grab from a gas station rack. No casing, no stickers, no fingerprint smudges. It looked untouched, unloved, but somehow, I knew it mattered more than anything else in the house. When she came downstairs, I was sitting at the table with it in front of me. She stopped in the doorway. Her face didn't change. She was good like that, composed, unreadable, the kind of calm you only learn after years of practice. Or guilt. What's that? She asked. I didn't answer. Instead, I hit the power button. It lit up. No password. Just opened, clean as a whistle. And there they were. Text messages lined up like little landmines. Dozens. Hundreds. All names I didn't recognize. Initials. Emojis. Some had ringtones I remembered. Wind chime. Synth pop. Piano keys. Every lie had its own ringtone. She moved closer, slowly, like she wasn't sure how I'd react. I can explain. That was the first time she looked scared. Not because she was afraid of me, but because something fragile had cracked between us. Not a plate. Not a window. Something older. Deeper. Something we'd both pretended was still whole. Start with the wind chime, I said quietly. She swallowed. I told you, she said. It was Andrea. But her voice broke. And that's when I knew. Not just about the phone. Not just about the lies. I knew that my marriage was no longer a shared story. It was a puzzle with missing pieces, and only one of us knew what the picture was supposed to be. The phone sat between us on the table like a confession no one wanted to read out loud. She didn't reach for it, didn't even flinch. Her hands stayed at her sides, but her eyes, God, her eyes, were moving fast, like she was scanning a mental checklist of what I'd seen, what I could know, what could still be denied. You went through it? She finally asked. I looked at her. Not angry. Not yet. Just tired. No. I turned it on. That landed harder than I expected. She blinked, looked away. For someone who swore she wasn't hiding anything, she suddenly looked like someone drowning in things unsaid. I slid the phone closer to her. If there's nothing to hide, tell me why this exists. She sat down, but not all the way. Perched, like a bird not sure if it was about to fly or fall. Her fingers hovered above the table, never quite touching the phone. You want the truth? That question always means you're about to hear something you wish you weren't. Please. She stared at the floor for a long time. Then, in a voice so low I almost missed it, she said, I didn't plan for it to get that far. That far. The words echoed around in my chest like a loose screw in a dryer. So it did go far. She nodded. Just once. I waited for more, but she didn't fill in the silence. She let it stretch. She always hated silence, used to hum in elevators just to fill the air. Now it hung between us like a question neither of us could shape into words. I picked up the phone again. The names were cryptic. J, Mark Piano, Leo Cigarette, no texts only. I opened one at random. There was a photo. Her, in a dress I didn't recognize, standing in front of a mirror I'd never seen. Smiling, like someone I didn't know. The caption read, Wish you were the one helping me take it off. The air went thin. You're allowed to hate me, she said. But I didn't. Not yet. I was still stuck in that moment of realization. The one where your brain hasn't caught up with your heart, where your eyes see it, but some part of you is still hoping you're wrong. I set the phone down. How long? She shook her head. I don't know. I stopped counting. How many? She didn't answer, just closed her eyes, like the question was too heavy to lift. That was answer enough. I got up, walked to the sink, stared out the kitchen window at the bird feeder we hung last fall. A sparrow was pecking at it like nothing in the world was wrong. I should have seen it, I said. No, she replied softly. I made sure you didn't. That part was the most honest thing she'd said all morning. She stood, walked over, arms wrapped around herself like she was trying to keep from falling apart. It didn't mean I didn't love you. I laughed. Not bitter. Just stunned. Every ringtone on that phone is someone else. I know. Every lie had its own song. She nodded. Why didn't you just leave? She looked at me like that question had never occurred to her. Because I wanted both, she said. You were home. They were everything else. I turned to face her. You do realize how insane that sounds. I do now, she whispered. We stood there, in that awful space between everything we'd been and everything we'd never be again. I felt hollow, like my chest was just noise and echoes. I wasn't angry, not yet, just shattered in slow motion. You think betrayal hits all at once, but sometimes it spreads like frost, inch by inch, quietly freezing every warm memory you had. The late-night drives, the way she used to hum with the windows down, her hand finding mine in the grocery store. All of it, now layered in suspicion, like mold on fruit. Did any of them love you? I asked. She looked down. Some tried. And you? She didn't answer. I took the phone and dropped it into the kitchen sink. She gasped as if I'd hurt her, like the object itself held some fragile part of her identity. It's done, I said. At least don't lie to me anymore. Her eyes welled, but I turned away before I could care. I was too tired for her tears. They felt late, like flowers after a funeral. I need time, I said, to forgive me, to decide if I want to. And with that, I walked out the door. No slamming, no scene. Just a man stepping out of the story his wife had rewritten without telling him. I didn't go far. Just drove. No destination, no music, just the hum of tires and the occasional sigh from my own lungs like they were trying to keep me grounded. I think I made it about 20 miles before pulling off into a grocery store parking lot. I sat there, engine off, hands on the wheel. It was quiet. Too quiet. And that's when I realized how loud she'd been. Not her voice, her presence. Even when she wasn't speaking, she filled a room. I used to love that. I used to believe that love was what filled the silence. Turns out, It was noise I mistook for comfort. The first night I slept alone again, it was in a friend's spare room. He didn't ask questions, just handed me a blanket, pointed to the fridge, and said, "Stay as long as you need." I didn't sleep much, just lay there staring at the ceiling fan, feeling every spin like a year of our life going around and around. I kept hearing the ringtones in my head, each one a bell tolling for a version of me that died a little every time she chose someone else. The next morning, she texted, "Please come home." Then, "I miss you." Then, "I'll tell you everything." I didn't reply, but I didn't block her either. Maybe I wanted to see what she'd say when she wasn't being watched, what her words looked like when they were naked and afraid. That night, she sent a voice note. I listened. She was crying. The kind of crying that sounds old, like it started long before the recorder ever turned on. She said she didn't know why she needed the attention, only that it made her feel seen. She said I made her feel safe, but safe started to feel invisible. I wanted to matter to someone new, she said. But I didn't realize I was burning the one place I ever truly mattered. I didn't know how to respond to that, because part of me understood it. And that's the worst kind of betrayal, the kind that makes sense. Weeks passed. I got my own place, small, clean, nothing fancy. I didn't take much from the house. Just some clothes, my books, and the photo of us on our 3rd anniversary, standing on that bridge in Portland. I didn't hang it up, just kept it in a drawer like an old receipt, proof that something once felt worth it. The divorce papers came by email. She didn't try to fight the terms. No alimony, no demands, just a quiet signature. The same woman who once argued for 20 minutes about which rug to buy didn't say a word about the house. She let it go. Maybe she was tired, too. 3 months later, I saw her in a coffee shop. She didn't see me. She was alone, no makeup, wearing that faded hoodie she used to steal from me after laundry day. She looked smaller, not physically, just less like the storm she once was. Her phone rang. A chime, not a ringtone, just the default one now. Nothing custom. No names with emojis. Just ordinary. She picked it up, smiled softly, and said, "Hey." I don't know who it was. And for once, I didn't care. It wasn't my lie to uncover anymore. I left without saying a word. I didn't need closure. I'd already heard it. Because the last ringtone, the one I never assigned, was silence. And it rang loudest of all. Bye-bye.